Hello friends, it is Christmas time. Merry Christmas. You know what I love? I love decorating my house for Christmas, but so many of you, and I actually mean that, so many of you have asked, can we have a home tour? And I did one quite a while ago, earlier this year, when I had kind of gotten my remodel done, and I kind of did a tour, but so many of you since then haven't actually been here for that, and you see little snippets and stories. And since I can't do a normal Christmas party this year, I thought, you know what? This is my Christmas party. I'm inviting you in, welcome, and we're gonna do a quick little, just a few of my favorite things. No pun intended, because it's all my favorite. And where we're gonna start in the entryway, because that's where you would come into the house. So come on in. So this is usually where you enter the house. So it's kind of that first cozy feel you need. There's a bench on this side. I always keep a couple pillows, but more it's the stuff you add for Christmas. And you know, just a few little trees with lights. Santa, of course, has to make a thing. My big thing when I put this entryway was, not only did I want hooks or like pegs for coats, because I wanted it to be easy. I didn't want a closet that you had to like get into, hang them up. I want people to be able to just throw them on. But I wanted a little shelf above it so I could put some extra things. So like little putz houses, little bottle brush trees, whatever it is, those little accents make such a difference. The thing is, since I am such a collector at heart, I collect all these things. I have way more than I ever put out because yeah, even for me, it can look like way too much. So you have to edit, you have to only put out a few things. So after you're in the entryway, you come right into the living room. This is kind of grand central because you see all rooms pretty much of the downstairs right here because it's kind of open, kind of separated, but you still get that. So again, I just try to accent in different places. So above this piece, I have these are Cody Foster houses. A lot of you ask all the time what these are. Cody Foster is a wholesale brand, so you have to look at places that sell Cody Foster items. I love them because they evoke the best look. They have that perfect patina. They almost look vintage, but they're definitely updated and have a little bit more of a modern edge to them too. So there's just a great way to play on that. And then I just mix them with different, you know, trees behind them, whatever it is. To me in general, yes, I put out a lot of decor. So yes, I put some things away that I have for more of my everyday decor. You have to. Obviously, you don't always have to go all out like I do, but it's fun to kind of edit a few things out, add a few things in, and kind of switch it up without it being too overwhelming. You can't just stuff it all in. So one of my big things, I love to collect paper mache items. They were usually from like the 30s, 40s, 50s, and they're usually all different types of Santas, and you can get other things too, like at Halloween, there's jack-o'-lanterns, there's turkeys for Christmas. I love the different Santas. I think they have such a good patina, such a good look. I have a couple over here too. I like to carry things and I try to keep things together in a room. So if I'm putting vintage items that have certain colors, I try to put them in a room that it makes sense in, just so your eye kind of flows from room to room and it kind of makes sense, which these items flow perfectly into the family room. That's the TV room. This is that cozy overall feel where I love to be in the evenings watching, yeah, you know, Hallmark movies if you really want to get in the mood. Actually, usually it's White Christmas because I'm obsessed with that too. This, of course, you've seen the video on my trees. They evoke so many of my collections too. This one has some of my antique collection on it. Most of my antique items I usually keep upstairs. I don't know why. Probably because I don't want anyone coming over and breaking them, but that sounds mean, but it's kind of true. So on this one, what I do have is some of my antique mushrooms. It also has new ones, but these are all the antique ones that are on these little pins here that just kind of hold on. I love those. And then up in here, I kind of do that same look. So a couple Cody Foster houses, some of the trees of different colors, and then more of my paper mache Santas. I love them. They have such a fun patina and look. And it's one of the things that when I go to flea markets, when I go to antique shows, I look for, because there's so many of them that you're always gonna find one you probably don't have. So it's just fun to kind of mix them in with some of your normal things and kind of give that play so it gives that cozy lived-in feel. Let's go to the dining room. Kip put his bow tie on for you guys. He loves it. So we're in the dining room, and obviously it's right off the kitchen, right off the living room. This is kind of that pass-through room, but obviously too, it's where this tree is that I shared in a video. And again, it kind of has this a little bit more rustic or natural feel, and it kind of has the colors I love. So my downstairs I keep slightly more, maybe edging on formal, especially in these couple rooms. It has just all those things I love, those kind of cooler tones, but mixed with mushrooms and natural elements. So I really like it. You also saw, I'm just kind of going through all my videos. This is like the best of Caleb. If I had a CD, this would be it. We did a a Christmas arrangement here down the table. And I talked about it because I said, you know, I do fall ones, I do Christmas ones. And then I've actually even switched it up a little bit since, just because some of it was fresh items. So I've kept the items that were faux or preserved. And I've added in, of course, my kugels. So my mom and I share collections. We do it together. We have a large kugel collection. Kugels are extremely old, usually 1800s, kind of one of the first ornaments, and they are a heavy, heavy glass. They have different types. You can kind of know the design of the top of them to go to the year they were made, but there's all different types. I love them. The really more rare ones are the ones when you can get like a great pattern or a really big acorn shape. Those are pricey, so I don't really have any of those. But these slowly over the years we've collected. Mom has the majority of them, and right now I have them in this huge trough at her house, but some year I want to do a whole tree in them, so maybe next year. And again, to just kind of give it a little bit more, I took the baskets that I have on top of my hutch off, and I switched it up with just some, kind of made it a winter wonderland. It has a Santa. Hey Santa. He's always watching us this way. And some deer, some trees, and this houses what I always talk to you guys about, my jadeite collection. This is restaurant jadeware, by the way. Not that you want to know this, but so many of you are interested in collections. Restaurant jade has a lot heavier and thicker make of it because it was made for restaurants, for churches, so it had a lot heavier use. So it's a little bit more rare. It's a little bit more sought after. It's one of my favorites. It has a lot of different styles cups, and this is the hot chocolate mug, or the chocolate mug. I don't know if anyone ever really used it for that, but anyway, Collection Central. Let's go upstairs because there's a couple more antique-y things that I love. So you'll probably remember when we're going upstairs, I did a video on my stairway of the garland, and I kind of switch it up every year. But more importantly, upstairs is some of my favorite stuff. So come on. So up here, I have one of my favorite things. And honestly, I think it's just because sometimes vintage items can be hard to intersperse with brand new items that look a little bit more modern. So I like to group them in different areas, and it just always makes sense upstairs. So this is my bottle brush tree collection. I've shown this on stories before, and it's one of my favorites because I started collecting. This is the first one I ever had, and I think when I was in 5th or 6th grade, I asked my mom for it. It was an antique store, and it was like $3 or $4, which at the time was like, why do you want that for $3 or $4? Now that would be a steal because it has glass ornament garland on it. It has the sparkles on it. It's completely full. It even has the original tag on the bottom. Not that that really matters, but it does. And so I intermix them. So when you're looking for things like this, just to talk about collecting for a second, the bigger ones, obviously are gonna be more expensive and a little bit more rare, and the ones that have intact garlands that are made with glass ornaments. Sometimes you'll find a broken ornament on them, but when they still have that, they're just more sought after. Some of these, when I found them, they had nothing on them, but they had all the spaces and holes where you could tell they had ornaments. So I collect antique little ornaments and then I glue them in. So I have 2 of them like that I've done. But then the rest of them are all original. So other things I collect are, I love the antique tree toppers. Again, they were a lot of times by the Shiny Bright company. They were made in Germany sometimes. There's a bunch of different ones, but I like to, because you're not gonna have that many trees you put them on. They're really made for old feather trees and not for modern trees, so they usually look too small. Receipt picks. They're antique. You can buy them. They're like a dime a dozen in antique stores. Old stores would have them by a cash register and just put their receipts on them. But they're perfect for holding up a tree topper and then just displaying it. So I love to do that. I intermix it with antique boxes. And then other things, of course, are like, I have an original set of these little elves. The Shiny Bright company that made ornaments also did things like this. I had these in the box. There's 6 of them, and they're made with pine cones. They're supposed to look like little Christmas forest elves, but you know, I can't get it all out. Yeah, that's not all of it. But I think sometimes with a collection like this, instead of trying to spread it out everywhere, which can be like, I like to group it together. It has a higher impact and it just looks really fun and festive, and it's like a great punch of color and interest. So that's why I sometimes group them, have them on one piece like this somewhere, and it's just a really fun way to display them. So another one of my fun collections up here is my Christmas tree. So let's go to my room. I put a tree in each bedroom and room upstairs. And this is one of my favorites because it has some of my favorite things. So it has a lot of my really old antique ornaments. It also has all of my pine cone ornaments. So not all of them actually, but I'm always collecting pine cone ornaments. They have all different shapes and sizes. There's really small ones, there's medium ones, then there's even larger ones. And yes, I overfill it, I stuff it on. That's because, I don't know, it kind of evokes to me that from that like 40s or even the 30s feel of just like a crowded tree with all these different type of ornaments. So it's kind of a place I just have fun and put on all the ones I love because this is in my room. I can do what I want. And I always, with a smaller tree especially, even my bigger trees, you've seen that when I talk about them on videos, I like to put them in something. So I have this one in a basket and it has tons of just old boxes I collect. All these boxes are different things. They're Christmas boxes, or I love ones that are from like just really fun old stores or that are still Harrods. I mean, that's fun, Harrods of London. So there's so many different fun boxes in here, or if there's a special box that someone gives me with like a gift, I'll do that. Around where I live, we have a department store called Von Maur, and it's kind of a Midwestern, but this is an original box from the original store when it was a different name. So I just think things like that are so fun to kind of throw in there. And since I'm a collector at heart, I cannot get it out. I use them wherever I can. Now I know. Caleb, where do you put it all? It actually all goes in my basement. I have an old farmhouse basement. It goes in Rubbermaid tubs. It's actually categorized quite well. It's labeled. Is there too much? Yeah. That's just how it is. Okay, that's my upstairs for now. Let's go to the kitchen because it has some cozy feels too. So the kitchen is where you see me all the time. Every video is usually kind of placed right here in the kitchen, and it's where I do spend the most time. And so last year during Christmas, fall, Christmas, winter, spring, it was being remodeled. And so this year I just feel like it's extra, I don't know, I'm just extra just happy and feel so blessed that I have a kitchen that I can enjoy and that I can be in. So I don't put too many things in my kitchen just because I use it so much. So I've shown this a lot, and a lot of you know, old cutting boards are in my kitchen anyway. This is a big, it's like a 19th century glass dome, probably from a dry goods store. They would have kept it on the counter. It has a rolled glass edge, which is, that shows the age of it, that it's a lot older. It's before, you know, they would actually, when they would make the glass, they would roll it instead of just cut it, because at that time that's what they would do. So you can tell the age of it. I love the size of it. These bigger ones are kind of hard to find, but then I just create a Christmas scene in it. So these are all new bottle brush trees in this one. But again, I like the colors. It just kind of has these, it's just a play. It's for fun. It's Christmas. That's kind of the different things you like to do. And I think that's what's fun about decorating at home is you make it your own. You make it what you want, what you enjoy. So things like, of course, vintage little, you know, signs. I always think this one's an odd one, but it really is old, but it says sleds, all sizes. So I imagine it's at some really fun, like tree farm or something where you could go get a sled, or maybe sleds were for sale at a hardware store and it had that sign. I don't know. Some more bottle brush trees. These ones I grouped together because they all have those darker kind of muted tones, even in the browns. And I think at one time they would have been all green, but they faded, but I kind of like that. And then I, of course, have some more collections of like copper molds. So all of these, not copper molds, but chocolate molds. All these would have been molds in a candy store. And I still use them sometimes and make like little chocolate Santas or a little chocolate tree. It's just kind of a fun way. And they look really fun because you can see what they are. So those kinds of things. On the baking side of my kitchen, I, yes, do have some things here. Right now I have my amaryllis here just because I'm trying to start them and force them. I planned them kind of late, but they're starting. Some old ornaments. I'm not usually someone into like kitschy Santas, but again, this is one. I am such a nostalgic person. This is one that when I was young, day after Christmas, we would always all go shopping at Christmas stores and get sale items. And this was in a local store and I loved it so much, and Mom got it for me and I had it in my room all my years growing up. So of course I'm still gonna put it in. One of the things you guys always ask me about is my copper pieces. Do I use them? What do I do with them? Are they just for looks? It's kind of both. Some of them I do use. Some of them are so old that they really should be re-tinned to use. So copper as its own, if it is raw like this and uncoated, like in a bowl or something like that, it works really well for whipping up egg whites, candy making, things like that. If you want to cook or bake in it, you want them tin lined. And as you can see, this one's getting aged and it really should be re-tinned before I would use it. So some of these I'm just waiting, and sometime I will re-tin. They're for looks. Some of them I do actually use. It kind of just goes back and forth. Guys, when you collect, it is just one of those things. But that's kind of a little house tour, some of my Christmas items, some of my favorite items, but now I want to see yours. So in the comments, comment what you love, comment and leave a picture of what is your favorite thing at your house. That's what I love the interaction with you, and I love how we connect. It's so fun to bring you into my house, but then it's also so fun to read through and see yours too. Even if I don't get back to all the comments, I love to look at them. So leave a comment, share this around, because always what helps me the most on any platform is when you guys share these videos. So share them, tag a friend, share it in your story, whatever it is. Thank you. As always, thank you. It is so fun to share these Christmas videos with you because these are my favorite to do. It's my favorite time of year. And soon we're gonna be back in the garden gardening. But for now, we can be cozy in the house and enjoy it. Kip wants to play. I'm gonna go play with him. As always, check my website, wiseguide.com, for recipes and whatever you need. And until next time, have a good Christmas.